Ever feel like you're kind of stuck? Like your brain just hits repeat on the same old patterns, even when, deep down they're not really working for you?
Oh, absolutely. It's like
Right.
we've got this autopilot, and it always seems to be taking us right back to where we started.
Exactly. So today we're diving into the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a neuroscientist who says we can actually rewire our minds to achieve greater success, find more purpose, and even improve our health.
It's fascinating stuff. He blends neuroscience and psychology and even ventures into quantum physics a bit, which is always interesting.
It is, but at its core, Dispenza's work seems to be about empowerment. Like we're not just stuck with whatever baggage we've accumulated over the years.
Right. He's saying we're not just puppets of our genes or prisoners of our past. We can actually consciously shape our own realities.
So this isn't just about positive thinking or writing affirmations on sticky notes and hoping for the best.
No, no, not at all. Dispenza is talking about actively rewiring the neural pathways in our brains. One of his key concepts is mental rehearsal.
Okay, I've heard that term before. So is it kind of like athletes visualizing their winning performance?
Exactly. But instead of training their muscles, we're training our brains to respond differently.
So how does that work in practice? Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're someone who struggles with confidence, particularly in meetings. Instead of just thinking, I need to speak up more, Dispenza would say, imagine yourself in that meeting, clearly and confidently articulating your ideas.
Okay, so you're really picturing yourself in that situation.
And crucially, you're also embodying that feeling of confidence.
So you're not just visualizing the actions, you're trying to feel the emotions you want to experience in that moment.
Yes, because Dispenza argues that the brain doesn't actually distinguish between this vivid rehearsal and real life. So when you're actually in that meeting, your brain's like, wait, I've been here before. I know what to do.
That's fascinating. So you're essentially giving your brain a sneak peek of the desired outcome so it knows exactly how to respond when it encounters that situation in real life.
And because you've already walked those neural pathways in your mind, taking action in the real world becomes less daunting, less intimidating. It's familiar.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And this is where I find it gets really interesting. It's not just about seeing yourself doing things differently, it's about feeling it too, right?
You've got it. Dispenza emphasizes the mind-body connection. It's not enough to just think, I want to be less stressed, for example.
Right, because we can all relate to that. We have those thoughts, but they don't always translate into actual change.
Exactly. We need to actively practice feeling calm and centered.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? Especially if you're someone who's, say, naturally wired to be more high-strung.
Well, imagine you're in a stressful situation. Your instinct might be to get tense, to worry, right?
Right, it's like your go-to response.
Instead of getting swept up in that energy, what if you paused and consciously chose a different feeling?
So you're basically interrupting that automatic stress response.
Exactly. It's about recognizing those patterns and then making a conscious effort to choose a different path.
Okay, I'm with you so far. But we're talking about rewiring deeply ingrained patterns here. What about those things that we've always thought were just part of our personality? Can those really be changed?
That's a big question, and there's no easy answer. But Dispenza and other researchers believe that our capacity for change is far greater than we often give ourselves credit for.
So it's not going to be easy, but it is possible.
Yes, it might not always be easy or quick, but with consistent effort and the right techniques, those deep-seated patterns can be shifted.
That's incredibly empowering. But I imagine there are bumps in the road. What are some of the biggest obstacles people might face when they're trying to, for lack of a better term, reprogram their minds for success?
You know, one of the most common. It's our own limiting beliefs. We spend years, sometimes a lifetime, telling ourselves stories about who we are and what we're capable of.
And those stories become self-fulfilling prophecies, don't they? If you believe you're not good enough or not worthy of success, you're going to subconsciously act in ways that confirm those beliefs.
Exactly. A lot of this work is about identifying those limiting beliefs and then challenging them. We have to ask ourselves, is this belief really true? Is it serving me or is it holding me back?
So it's like becoming a detective of your own mind, uncovering those hidden beliefs and deciding if you want to keep them or toss them out.
Yes. And sometimes it's about consciously replacing those old beliefs with new empowering ones. For example, instead of, I'm terrible at public speaking, maybe try, I'm a captivating speaker and people are interested in what I have to say.
Essentially rewriting the script that's playing on a loop in your head. I love that. But it's not just about our internal dialogue, right? There's this external component too. Our environment, the people we surround ourselves with, those things play a role.
Absolutely. Dispenza talks about the importance of surrounding yourself with positive influences, whether it's people, books, experiences, anything that supports growth. Our brains are constantly adapting, so it's important to be mindful of the input we're feeding them.
It's like creating a nurturing ecosystem for those seeds of change you're planting in your mind.
Exactly. And this is where Dispenza really emphasizes the power of gratitude.
Oh, interesting. How does that tie in?
Well, he argues that practicing gratitude actually shifts our energy, making us more open to abundance and success.
So it's not just about wanting more, it's about appreciating what you already have.
Right. When we focus on the good, when we feel genuinely grateful for what's present in our lives, it creates a positive frequency that attracts more good. We align ourselves with success and abundance.
So it's not just wishful thinking, it's about actively shifting your energy and perspective.
Exactly. And as we do that, we become more magnetic to the opportunities, the resources, the relationships that will help us achieve our goals.
This is all incredibly powerful, but I imagine it takes serious discipline and consistency to make these changes last. It's not like flipping a switch,
I
right?
hit the nail on the head. It's not a quick fix. It's
Yeah.
about consciously choosing every single day to show up as the best version of yourself, to think, feel, and act in ways that are aligned with your goals.
It's a journey, not a destination.
You got it. And the journey itself can be incredibly rewarding because as we learn to master our minds, we tap into this level of power and potential that we never even knew we had.
This has been eye-opening. And while it's tempting to get lost in the how-tos, I think the biggest takeaway is that we actually hold incredible power within us.
Absolutely. We are not defined by our circumstances or our past. We have the power to choose a different path, to design a future that reflects our deepest desires.
It's about reclaiming our power as conscious creators.
Exactly. And what an empowering message that is.
So how do we actually break free from these, as you called them, emotional addictions? Where do we even begin?
Well, Dispenza talks about mindfulness as being key here. It's about becoming aware of those negative thoughts and feelings as they're happening, not after we've already gotten swept away by them.
Right, right. But that's often easier said than done, isn't it? I mean, sometimes it feels like these patterns are just hardwired into us.
Oh, absolutely. They can feel so automatic, but we can actually use that mental rehearsal we talked about earlier. By consciously practicing new, more positive responses in our minds, we can weaken the hold those old negative emotions have on us.
So it's almost like we're creating a new default setting for our brains.
Exactly. And it's not about pretending those negative emotions don't exist. It's more like we acknowledge them, but we choose not to let them control us. And then we consciously practice a different response.
Okay, so we're talking about rewiring some pretty deeply ingrained patterns here. But what about those things we've always thought were just what part of our personality? Can those really be changed?
That is a question a lot of people ask. And there's no easy answer. But Dispenza and other researchers seem to believe that our capacity for change is actually far greater than we often give ourselves credit for.
So it's not going to be easy, but it is possible.
Yes, it might not always be easy, and it might not be quick. But with consistent effort, and of course the right techniques, those really deep-seated patterns, they can be shifted.
That's incredibly empowering, but I imagine there are bumps in the road. What would you say are some of the biggest obstacles people might face when they're trying to, I don't know if there's a better way to say this, but reprogram their minds for success?
One of the most common ones is our own limiting beliefs. We spend years, sometimes a lifetime, telling ourselves these stories about who we are and what we're capable of.
And those stories, they become self-fulfilling prophecies, right? If you believe you're not good enough or you're not worthy of success, you're going to subconsciously act in ways that confirm those beliefs.
Exactly. So much of this work is about identifying those limiting beliefs and then actively challenging them, like asking ourselves, is this belief even true? Is this really serving me, or is this holding me back from my full potential?
So it's like becoming this detective of your own mind, uncovering those hidden beliefs and then deciding, okay, do I want to keep this or do I want to toss this out?
Yes. And sometimes it's about consciously replacing those old beliefs with new, empowering ones. So, for example, instead of, ugh, I'm terrible at public speaking, and maybe you try, I'm actually a captivating speaker and people are interested in what I have to say.
It's like you're rewriting the script that's playing on a loop in your head. I love that. But it's not just about that internal dialogue, is it? There's also this external component too, right? Like our environment, the people we surround ourselves with, those things all play a role.
Oh, absolutely. Dispenza talks about the importance of surrounding yourself with positive influences, whether that's people, books, even just experiences, anything that really supports your growth. Because our brains are constantly adapting, right?
Mm.
So it's so important to be mindful of the input that we're feeding them.
It's like you're creating this nurturing ecosystem for all those seeds of change that you're trying to plant in your mind.
Exactly. And this is where Dispenza emphasizes the power of gratitude. He argues that practicing gratitude actually shifts our energy and makes us more open to abundance and success.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about wanting more, it's about appreciating what you already have.
Right. When we focus on the good, when we take the time to feel genuinely grateful for what's present in our lives, it creates this positive frequency that attracts more good. We align ourselves with success and abundance.
So it's not just wishful thinking, it's about actively shifting your energy and perspective.
Exactly. And as we do that, we actually become more magnetic to the opportunities, the resources, the relationships that will help us achieve our goals.
This is all incredibly powerful, but I imagine it takes some serious discipline and consistency to make those changes last. It's not just a matter of flipping a switch, is it?
You're absolutely right. It's not a quick fix at all. It's really about consciously choosing every single day to show up as the best version of yourself, to think, to feel, and to act in ways that are aligned with your goals.
It's a journey, not a destination.
You got it. And the journey itself can be incredibly rewarding. As we learn to master our minds, we tap into this level of power and potential that we never even knew we had.
This has been eye-opening for sure. And while it's tempting to, get lost in the how-tos of it all, I think the biggest takeaway for me is just the realization that we actually hold this incredible power within us.
Absolutely. We are not defined by our circumstances or our past. We have the power to choose a different path, to design a future that truly reflects what we want, who we want to be.
It's about reclaiming that power we have as conscious creators.
Exactly. Well, what an empowering message that is, right?
It really is. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into rewiring our minds, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
If I had to boil it down to one thing, it's that change is possible. It really is. No matter where you are in life, no matter what challenges you might be facing, you have the power to create a new reality for yourself.
It's about tapping into that unlimited potential that I think we all have within us.
Yes. And remembering, this is a journey. It's not a destination. There will be setback, there will be challenges, there might even be a few stumbles back into those old ruts.
Yeah.
But the key is to just keep going, keep learning, and keep growing.
To keep practicing those new ways of thinking, feeling, and just being in the world.
Exactly. And to remember that every single moment is a new opportunity to make a different choice. A chance to create a new experience, to step more fully into our power. Our power as the conscious creators of our lives.
This deep dive into the power of our minds with Dr. Joe Dispenza has been incredible. It really makes you realize we're not just products of our past. We have the ability to consciously evolve and create the reality we want.
Absolutely. And the exciting thing is this is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Mm.
There's a whole world of research and techniques out there just waiting to be explored.
And I encourage everyone listening to do just that. Keep exploring these ideas, keep experimenting, but most importantly, keep believing in your own capacity for transformation.
Because that belief, that's where it all begins. That's where true change begins.
So if you could reprogram your mind, what's one area of your life that you would want to transform? What's your biggest, boldest vision for yourself? Keep that question in mind as you move throughout your day. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep reaching for those incredible possibilities within you.